So Red School really began a very long time ago. I like to think it was conceived at your first period, Alexandra, and then it was really born in you in your early 30s when you really started to experience menstrual pain. And it was from that pain that this work has evolved and grown and become this really rich, deep, full-body, profound field of work that it is today. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about that, about your experience with menstrual pain and how that led you to be here today sharing what you are?
Oh, yes, Sjanie. It's a great story. And who would have thought that menstrual suffering could flower into something as awesome as what we're working with now with Red School? Yes, in my 20s, I was really into cycle awareness, into charting my cycle for fertility. And I just felt it was a feminist statement doing that. I was a bit of I was going to say militant feminist probably about that sort of thing. So I was very into that. And I was paying attention to my cycle, but not in that kind of deep, subtle way, although it was breaking through because I could see it in my journal writings. But the big moment came just before my 31st birthday when I got the menstrual pain from hell out of nowhere. Literally, I was dead and in agony. And each month it turned up again, this pain, and it would last for 3 or sometimes 4 days. It was insane. Now, I actually was already into alternative stuff, and so I wasn't going to go down the drugs and surgery route. I did sort of dally with it momentarily, but I got out of there pretty fast because I knew it wasn't going to work for me. And I made the decision, and this is everything, I made the decision to believe in my body. That something meaningful was trying to unfold from that. And it sounds so simple that now, and I didn't, it wasn't, the process wasn't quite so simple, and it did take me many years. I don't think it has to take a woman so many years as it did me, because I was in a sense inventing the wheel at that point.
Yeah.
The health information we have today is just staggering. And in those days, there was good stuff, but it's not as comprehensive as it is today. So I started following my body, and I started giving space to menstruation, and the rest is history. I write about it, of course, in my book, The Wild Genie, that whole journey.
So through making the decision to follow your body, you were kind of out in the dark, like out in unknown territory, and just simply following your body is what has led to the unfolding of this knowledge.
Exactly that. And I don't know where the faith came from to trust my body. It's interesting. I just did. Yeah, I knew something. And I'm kind of proud of myself for keeping faith because the pain was hell. Absolute hell.
So tell us more about how then you began to listen to your body and follow it, and what that looked like for you.
Well, the main thing was giving space to menstruation. So I would reduce my workload, and I was partly self-employed, so I could do that, but not always. But I would really just pull back from everything, and I would travel with the pain because I didn't want to take painkillers. So I would roll around and burn, yell. And I sort of discovered things through that. It's quite interesting. I got real insight into myself and into life. It was like this curtain parting every month when I would go into that pain. And then, of course, I found good natural healers that would suggest this thing or that thing. And I would try it out. And it was sort of trial and error, really. And just really listening to myself. And the whole thing of reducing stress, because, of course, stopping at menstruation meant I was resting and chilling and reducing stress in my life. And that in itself made a difference. So it was this, listening to myself, going to many practitioners and listening to them and trying out things. And I had in the background good ongoing support through things like acupuncture, Chinese herbs, But not only that, I did Western herbs, I did osteopathy, all sorts of things. And of course, the bedrock of everything was diet. And that is absolutely radical today. Diet is the first thing I would encourage women to start to address. Yeah. And I got super disciplined. And I mean, of course, I am a disciplined person by nature, but I got disciplined. And it happened. It seemed like a miracle in many ways that I could do it, that it did heal. And yet now, when I think back, actually, it is doable. It's eminently doable. So if you are a woman who is suffering, please take part. And if you are a woman who does not suffer, you may be someone like Sjanie. Sjanie, do you want to say a little bit about what happened for you? Because you didn't suffer, but you were on hormonal contraception and shutting it all down.
My story is slightly different. I love the fact that the combination of you listening to your body led you to this understanding that you really need to let go and stop and be with the pain. And through that, something really opened for you. And then that, plus like the self-care and getting the extra support, allowed you to move into a very different place. And I also just want to add to your story, just to say that in a way you've created a shortcut for women, because through trial and error, you've discovered what works and doesn't work. And actually in this program and Hormone Harmony, Alexandra, you've pulled together a really tight, neat package of what works. So, if you're someone who suffered 30 plus years of Alexandra's experience of listening to her body, you're getting the first taste of it in this Hormone Harmony course, and of course you'll get a lot more in the courses that follow. My story is slightly different, and that has brought me to a similar place, which is Red School. So in my early 20s, I was needing contraception, and the only options I knew about were the pill or the contraceptive injection. And I started with the pill, and within, 1 or 2 cycles, I experienced a huge emotional reaction. I felt intensely angry. And it kind of took me by surprise, and I immediately thought, this isn't good for me. This isn't working for me. So I stopped that. Then, of course, when I was looking for another option, the only option that was presented to me was the injection. And so I did it. And what I experienced there was actually quite the opposite. Of course, it stopped my cycle, and in a way, it kind of dampened down my emotions. And I was on it for a number of years. And during that time, when I look back now, I can see how there was this kind of haze of despondency or kind of lack of appetite in a way. I really lacked an appetite, and I was quite stuck in many areas of my life during that time. And my emotional landscape became very blanketed and sort of one tone. And anyway, as one's body does, my body began signaling to me that this was not working, that this was not a good thing. And I started to experience pain and other symptoms that forced me to look at what was going on. And of course, it led me straight to the red flag of, the contraception. And so I made the choice to come off it. And it was a difficult choice because I wasn't sure how else to go about ensuring that I wouldn't fall pregnant, which I really didn't want at the time. But fortunately, I discovered some good alternative complementary therapies that really supported me to come off the injection. And what I found was, as my cycle returned, it's interesting, I look back on my life now, it's like, it was such a turning point for me. It was like it was like I became a woman, I blossomed, I woke up again, sort of for the second time since menarche. And when my cycle returned, the floodlights just came back on, and my inner life was illuminated, and my feeling world was reignited, and my passion and my appetite for life just bloomed. And I began to make changes in my life, and things really started to flow and started to move. And I discovered this inner rhythm. It really excited me. I was like, oh my word, there is something going on here that is far beyond just the biological process. My whole inner world is being ignited and set alight, with the return of my menstrual cycle. And I couldn't stop thinking about it, talking about it. And I really began to do this self-inquiry and listen, as you did, listen to what was going on in my body and discover that I had these particular needs and tendencies at different times in my cycle. There was this dance going on within me, and I was partnering my cycle. And the more I partnered my cycle, the more I kind of fell into step and fell into sync with this rhythm, the richer and more exciting and more joyful my life began to feel, and the more productive I became. So that really turned me on to something. And then, of course, through that, I began to explore books and literature and discovered your work, Alexandra, and met you. And that was where a whole new conversation started to open up for me and for us around what was possible with cycle awareness.
That's right. Suddenly the whole thing shifted into another gear when we came together to form Red School. A whole new level of appreciation of the power of this work and the healing power of the cycle. So we'd love all of you to dive in now and start exploring and healing any symptoms you have and any trauma you have around menstruation or any negativity you have around it, because we promise you, you're going to find gold.